These are my audience members, Brenda Davidson, Maureen Davidson, and Mark Williams. For my speech, I used two main forms of resources. I used the book Stranger Beside Me by Ann Rule and Evil Serial Killers, Inside the Minds of the Most Monstrous Murderers by Charlotte Gray. Did you know serial killer Ted Bundy actually worked at a crisis center before becoming a serial killer? At the crisis center, he met Ann Rule, his lifelong friend, whom he later called, trying to convince that he was not a serial killer. What he did not know is Ann had already tried to call him in. Ted was thought to be a good, likable, successful man at first, but he was not what he seemed. According to Ann Rule's book, The Stranger Beside Me, Ted was well liked, and she liked him immediately. Ted grew up semi-normally. Born from a single mother in Vermont, they ended up moving in with his grandparents. According to Ann Rule, the family was scared of being shamed by others due to his mother being a single mom, and they claimed that Ted was actually their grandparents' son, so he had to grow up thinking his mom was his sister. But he was smarter than that and knew that it was a lie. Ted was smart. He found it very hard to make friends, which is very common in students. Ted luckily loved and adored his grandfather, so they were very, very close. Little signs were shown that Ted would become a very dangerous serial killer. He did what most attention-seeking children did. He stole, he lied, and he got into a lot of trouble. Soon in college, he would begin to skip his classes. Ted Bundy was brilliant and had the chance at a very successful life. After high school, he went on to the University of Washington, where he began to study and ended up majoring in psychology. Before this, he wanted to major in urban planning and in the Chinese language. At the college, he met and dated his first love, Stephanie, which is not uncommon. Many college students find love in college, and he expected her to be his one and only love, which is also very common. According to Ann Rule, Ted was enrolled at a total of 4 different colleges, but he did not kill his first victim until he went to the University of Utah, where he studied but did not major in law. He was also a very good politician in the Republican Party. He escaped his trial twice. Returning to Seattle, he was appointed chairman. He traveled to Miami, but his candidate had little chance. Then he later dropped out of college, Rule 19. While on a business trip, he saw Stephanie, his ex, once more, and she began to fall in love with him once again. However, at this time he had a new girlfriend named Meg, but he kept her a secret. Ted dressed differently each time he went to kill. Different hairstyles, a cast, and crutches. Each time, he had different excuses to lure someone to his vehicle. People became very persuasive to try to get what they want, no matter who that person is. Ted did have a degree in psychology, but later in court, he fired his own lawyer, John Henry Brown, because he did not like the way that he defended Bundy. The replacement? Himself. He also found a loophole and was able to propose to his latest lover, Carol, whom he had a single child with. After Ted's girlfriend, Stephanie, broke up with him, his rampage and anger began to build. So Ted had met a new lover, Meg Anders, who had one child that he took care of. However, behind her back, he was still communicating with his first love, Stephanie. Ted and Stephanie at this point were secretly engaged. They planned to see each other again. However, while he was gone, Meg saw a drawing of what seemed to be Ted, and because of how he had been acting toward her lately, more violent, he called him in behind his back. However, people seemed to really like Ted and really enjoy him, so they disregarded the call. Greg 132. Once again, Stephanie had broke it off. But Ted is not the only person that has had a breakdown after their relationship ended. Many people react differently. It can take them a day, a week, a year, or many more to get over their past relationship. However, with Ted, he so happened to be pushed over the edge. It is speculated that Ted killed over 30 women. However, this number is not true because no one actually knows how many he fessed up to or how many he truly killed. Ted had no idea that his ex-girlfriend and his old friend, Anne, had called him in. However, both times they were ignored. While in court, women parted their hair purposely in the middle and they dyed their hair brown. They thought their appearance would appeal to the killer because that seemed to be his type. We all have tried to look good for someone, even if we don't truly know them. It doesn't have to be a lover, but it could be a friend or a family member. Ted Bundy was thought to be a good, likable, successful man at first, but he was not what he seemed. Ted Bundy did work at a crisis center before becoming a serial killer, and according to Andrew, they made a good team. Even if you think you know them well, some people might not be who they truly seem. So, have you noticed a close friend or even just a friend changing because of a breakup or a life change?